6 years, $63 million. That is a lot of money. So will Byron Maxwell live up to his contract, or will he bust like Nnamdi Asomugha? That's the topic of discussion today. Jeremy Burton is here. I'm Adrian Fedkiw. Mike Owens is on vacation. He's getting plastered in Seattle this week. So this is the perfect time to introduce you to a new member of the Bitterbirds. They call him Little Diddy, even though he's 6'4". He's a massive, massive man. He's very, very muscular. He's got muscles on top of muscles. So Jeremy, welcome to the team.
Thank you, Adrian. Such a pleasure. One of my favorite topics ever is the Eagles. Die hard, born and raised. So I love the Little Diddy. Idolized him since I was like 10 years old. So my family always called me that for as long as I can remember. So cheers, and thank you for the invite to the Bitterbirds.
Yeah. So and you even got the notepad too.
A la Ray Diddy. You know what the problem is? It's not yellow. I don't have the yellow pad. It's the white pad, because you always see him on CSN after the games and the post game. He's always got his notes jotted down. So I had to go in true Diddy style.
Yeah, dude, it's funny. Like he'll go scribble on stuff. Everyone else is like on their little iPad, and he's got his notepad, just scribbling notes down. It's great. I love Diddy, man. I'm with you. Like he's like my idol, and you know I got his new Eagles dictionary or the encyclopedia. So yeah, I look up to him a lot. I'm just like you in that aspect.
Oh, absolutely. I got the encyclopedia right here, and actually here's the signature that he. There it is. And he even mentioned calling me Little Ray, which is pretty awesome. You know, my family always called me the Stat Man, so they called me Little Ray ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you know, we went to school together at Temple, and you know, I hadn't seen you in a couple years. I did a little bit of recruiting. You know, a few nights ago, we went to Isaac Newton's in Newtown. You know, sampled out a lot of different beers. You know, that was a lot of fun, and it was funny because. We got this one beer that tasted like Skittles. It tasted like, you know, Fruity Pebbles. And unfortunately, the bartender really screwed up because it wasn't actually the beer that we ordered, but it was delicious. And what happened after that, we started getting like samples of like 10 different beers because we couldn't figure out what it was. And she just kept handing us stuff.
It was great, dude. I mean, when we didn't know what it was, I was just like, I looked at the board. I'm like, oh, well, there's a beer that has peach in its name. So maybe try that one. So it helped her out. She was struggling a little bit, that bartender, for sure. But it was a good time. It was great catching up with you, and so happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you drinking right now? What is your beverage of choice?
Little Merry Monks by Weyerbacher.
Oh, okay.
Classic craft brew.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
And for this momentous occasion, I got a Sweet Baby Jesus. This is like my favorite beer right now. You know, I as you may know, I love peanut butter. I mean, if I had a hot tub, I would fill it with peanut butter. I love it. So I'm gonna crack open this bad boy right now. I love this stuff.
That is a solid beer. Very tasty.
It's delicious. Delicious. It is like almost better than sex.
Wouldn't quite go that far.
I have some really bad sex though. So.
Oh God.
All right. So all right. Let's get this show started. You know, the topic is Byron Maxwell. Obviously, you know, we signed him to a 6-year, $63 million deal, as I referenced before. He's getting top 5 money, even though he's not a top 10 corner. So why did they sign him if he's not a top 10 corner? Why did they throw all that money at him?
Well, pretty sure they just wanted to get the best guy available. And with our passing defense last year stuck at the 31st rank out of 32 teams, I think we needed to address that position a little bit. So, you know, Chip, in true Chip fashion this offseason, he took control and his first year as GM. So do you consider this like year 1 of Chip, or is it really year 3? Well, this is year 1 where he has all the say. It's all on him. And so he addressed the defense, one of the biggest positions that we needed. And so that's what brings along Maxwell. And he was actually, you know, targeted more than Richard Sherman last year. And so and did a good job.
Yeah. I'm with you there. You needed to bring him in. Our secondary was so bad last year. Bradley Fletcher was just a joke. He would get burned so much. He didn't put on his suntan lotion clearly, and then you had Kerry Williams on the other side. So he was getting burned as well. So both of those guys, they were getting skin cancer, unfortunately. So we needed to bring him in. And, especially in a division that has Des Bryant, you got the emerging Odell Beckham, you got Deshaun Jackson. You needed to bring in a guy, and that's what they did. They went out, they got the best corner out there in free agency, at least, not excluding Darrelle Revis. And he's still only 27, so he's in the prime of his career. He's not 30. Some of the other big names, they were over 30 years old. You had Antonio Cromartie. You had Tremont Williams. So you bring in Maxwell. He's a perfect fit for the defense. Physical press man corner. Played cover 3 in Seattle. So a lot of the same intricacies on defense with Seattle and him bringing him here.
Yeah, that's true. The only downside I can look at is as far as injury history. I know he's had previous torn ACLs early in his college and late high school career. And also last year, he missed 3 games just in another leg injury with the calf. So you hope he holds up. But, Chip, we know, is a gambling man, and he brought on – he doesn't really care about injuries. You can see by the other signings this year. You got Bradford and Kiko coming off big injuries. So, we'll just got to hope for the best. Mm-hmm. Hope it was a good signing. Like you said, we are paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, loads of money. And you brought up earlier with Richard Sherman, him getting targeted more than Sherman. This is kind of a crazy stat because the critics say that Maxwell's deficiencies were hidden by the Legion of Boom, but you can also flip that around and say that teams targeted him a lot more because he was the guy next to Richard Sherman, and because Richard Sherman only plays one side of the field. He doesn't flip-flop sides. You would always put the top guy on Maxwell. So, for instance, when the Cowboys played, Seattle, you had Des Bryant on him. So, you referenced the injuries earlier. He did miss 3 games last year due to a strained calf. He saw the field on 407 snaps last season compared to Sherman at 552. Sherman was targeted 65 times. Maxwell a whopping 71. So obviously, as you can see, targeted a lot, and he definitely held his own, and especially against Bryant. We talked about this pre-show. Against Dez, he shut him down, and he shut him down. Unfortunately, he got hurt in that game, but for about 2.5 quarters, Dez didn't do anything against Maxwell.
And another team he did a great job against was the Eagles. I remember that game very well because I was at it. Believe after Thanksgiving last year, when in the midst of our 3-game losing streak that kind of ended our season last year, and jump started that, and it was just an awful performance. And Byron and Sherman shut us down. Mark Sanchez was Mark Sanchez, and that was just an awful game. But is Maxwell worth the money? Time will tell, but we just hope it addresses the issue of the secondary.
Yeah, they had to sign him. If you look at it this way, well, I'll talk about that Seattle game first because the reason why he was so impressive in that game, they put him in the slot against Jordan Matthews because they knew Riley Cooper was shit. So they put him on the inside, even though Maxwell is, doesn't really play the slot, and he did very, very well against Matthews, shut him down.
Yeah, definitely. And Matthews at the time was our best receiver, and he had a great connection with Mark Sanchez last year. They were tearing it up together. I think Jordan Matthews still holding in 8 touchdowns last year, and I think all, if not all of them, from Mark Sanchez, most of them. So he was obviously our best corner. I actually put Byron on him. You got Jeremy Maclin, who was actually covered by Sherman probably most of the time. So he was our true number 1, but Matthews was hot at one point.
Yeah. So, it was great strategy, obviously. Like, you're going to let, Riley Cooper beat you? or you're going to let Jordan Matthews beat you. So they moved him into the slot. Riley Cooper was still non-existent in that game. I think he was like matched up against Harold Simon or something. So Cooper, I mean, he's just so bad. All right. So moving on to the other thing I wanted to talk about, because, you know, you had to bring Maxwell in because you needed to at least build around a guy, because right now the secondary is shit. You know, you needed to bring in somebody. And obviously, you know, as you can see, they addressed the weaknesses in the draft, taking three guys, you know, three cornerbacks. You took Eric Rowe, you took Ja'Cory Shepherd, you took Evans. So you bring in three guys, basically hoping one of them, you know, emerges to be that second cornerback of the future. Obviously, Rowe, the second-round pick, he's the guy that, you know, that you would think would be next to Maxwell in years to come.
Yeah, that's true. I heard a lot of good things about Shepherd, I believe, from Ray Diddy, actually. And then there's Eric Rowe, who is obviously the second-round pick from Utah, who looks like a good prospect. And, you know, it seems like we got a new secondary coach in there, Corey Unlin, who is pretty well known from the Broncos, and hopefully he can coach these guys up. And, you know, I mean, you mentioned before pre-show that Brandon Boykin is his contract's up, and he will definitely get a starting job somewhere. I mean, we keep him in the slot because that's what Chip wants, but he's going to be gone. And like you said, we need a corner for the future to go along with, you know, hopefully we have Maxwell, you know, shine for the next 5-6 years without his contract. But, yeah, you got to have that second guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it'll be interesting to see, like, who's going to fill in for Boykin, because if it were up to me, if I was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Boykin would be my second starter. But, you know, Chip, he wants big guys. He wants guys like you, 6'4", step out there, you know, play quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Boykin is sub 6 foot, and he's I mean, he's physical though for a little guy. I mean, I love Boykin. He's great. He's great in this. You know, whenever he's on the field, I like Boykin. He's a playmaker, and you know, I'll miss him if he leaves. And you know, Nolan Carroll didn't really get a starting opportunity last year, even though we should have tried him out over you know, what the trash we had back there at Williams and Fletcher. I think Nolan Carroll should have started more games. Brought in Walter Thurman, who's been injured, but also a former Duck. And so they were talking about moving him to safety opposite Malcolm Jenkins, but, you know, he's also another corner in the mix.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you bring that up, Thurman. I love that they're moving him to safety, and the way that the Eagles do things, you know, they kind of have like mirror safety, so they both kind of do the same thing. There's no free safety, strong safety. They're both just safeties. There's no connotation to them. And with our, you know, the way we play the safety spot, they got to be able to cover. And obviously Thurman, you know, being a former cornerback, he can definitely cover. He's just got to learn the other intricacies, you know, playing in the box and, you know, playing some single high coverage. But he's definitely a guy that, you know, I think can be that, you know, other safety.
I hope so too. And you know what? I mean, Chip knows him, obviously, from Oregon, and we signed him, I believe, to a very minimal one year deal. You know, not expensive, so you know it's not that huge of a risk. So why not give him a shot? Yeah,
and another one of those guys that, you know, is coming off an injury. So you know, sports science at its best, man. Bringing all these guys, and you know, hopefully he you know, the mad scientist can you know, get the right potions together, the right smoothies, and hopefully everybody will stay healthy.
I hope so, man. Because you know, all these injury risks are, you know, the only thing holding me back from, like, oh, we're going to be 14-2, you know. Like, no, I mean, I honestly think you know, I see, like, when we talked at the bar, you know, we both see 11 wins. You know, we both look through the schedule, we see 11 wins. I mean, that's kind of my prediction. But hopefully the defense. I mean, I love the defense, how we addressed it, and let Chip do his offense, and hopefully Maxwell and the rest of the secondary can cover all the, you mentioned all the wide receivers in our division. There are a lot of threats. You got Deshaun, Dez, Odell Beckham Jr., who saved my fantasy season last year. He's huge threats.
Yeah. Actually, the guy that Maxwell might struggle with is Deshaun. Maxwell is more of a side straddler rather than a backpedaler, and he's susceptible to like the speedy guys. I watched a couple games from him last season, specifically one against the Broncos where he struggled against Emmanuel Sanders. The double moves against the shifty kind of quick receivers, that's kind of what he struggles with. So Deshaun Jackson might burn him a couple times. I could definitely see that. But against the kind of more big physical guys, wide receivers, that's why he had like great success against Dez Bryant. That's where he's at his best. So he's a big physical corner.
Yeah, that is true. Dez is like one of the biggest threats. I mean, you saw that pathetic game against what he put up against Bradley Fletcher, dude. I mean, he made him look like, he was in Little League. I mean, in Pee Wee football, he just flew by him, and I think he got 3 touchdowns that game. It was nuts. So we need that physical corner for sure.
You want to talk about skin cancer, man? He had masses all over his back and body. Yeah, he had to get a lot of things cut.
He got so burned. Yeah, that was pretty pathetic, that game. That really, oh man, that was you knew that season was like over. That's
yeah. We got like Chip got blinded by his record because all season long we saw that Fletcher was getting burned time and time again, and they never made the switch. I know Billy Davis takes care of the defense, but ultimately Chip Kelly is the ultimate decision maker. He's the head coach, and I never understood why he didn't go to Billy and said, Fletcher sucks. Get him out of the game. He stinks. He's getting burned week after week after week, and we still keep trotting him out there. And, they never made the adjustment until what, week 16, week 17, they finally benched him?
Yeah. You're exactly right. I think who was our rookie last year? Jalen Watkins. Did we give him a shot?
Yeah. He was Giants. I think he played a little bit.
Yeah, that last game. I forget. Yeah. So he's also
Nolan Carroll were the guys out there.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, he literally waited until the season was over to try and throw in another option. It's ridiculous.
And the best part about the Fletcher thing was he was on the team's injury report on the last.
Yeah, with a bullshit injury, like, oh, I got a bruise. So you're going to sit out this game. Yeah, it was the only game he sat out. You're right. I remember seeing that. That's so funny.
Oh, man. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's so we got our guys. Obviously, the front seven, it's loaded.
Oh, it's deep.
It's deep.
Yeah, I'm so excited for Kiko and Michael Kendricks to be in the rotation together in the middle. Come on. Mm-hmm. And behind Fletcher Cox, and you got Cedric and Cedric Thornton and Benny Logan, the big nose tackle.
Yep.
And then Mufasa, as Chip calls him, D'Amico Ryans. We gave him more years on his deal, even though he's coming off of an Achilles injury. So he's in the mix. Mm-hmm. And the outside we solidified, with Connor and Brandon. So I'm excited for that front seven. And then now we shored up the secondary a little bit. Hopefully the defense, even if the defense goes from like 25th to 15th overall, and with our offense and the points we can score, we still won 10 games last year with injuries at quarterback. With we still won 10 games with that secondary, 31st ranked secondary. Yeah. And now that we improved our defense and Chip's got the offense, I can definitely see a great season. I'm excited. Training camp's in just days, and preseason game is in like a little over 2 weeks. So.
Oh my God, dude. I can smell the grass. We're right there, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. I can't believe how fast it rolled around.
Oh boy. Yeah, dude. You bring up a great point, and the front seven really masked our secondary for a while because we got so much pressure on the quarterback. And, when quarterback did have time to throw, I mean, obviously they shredded our secondary apart. And, we saw that by the end of the season, obviously. And, that's ultimately what cost us last season. So basically what's happening is we're loading up on defense. Chip has obviously, the first 2 years, he's seen that his scheme can work at the pro level. So he's gotten rid of a couple guys, obviously McCoy gone, Macklin, they didn't want to pay him the money. They went out and drafted Nelson Aguilar instead. So he's going to be the receiver of the future. And so they're loading up on defense, and they're going to let the scheme take care of the offense. So it's the Bill Walsh theory back in the early 80s.
Yeah, I remember you brought up that point, mentioned Bill Walsh and, Jimmy Johnson, and it's a great comparison. I mean, there's some of the all-time greats, and I hope Chip Kelly goes into that category one day and brings multiple Super Bowls to Philadelphia, because I've been watching this team for almost like 2 decades, and it's like I'm just so excited.
Mm-hmm. Big Diddy, baby.
That's right. Big Diddy is ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, we talked about a lot on this show. Trying to think of, anything else we might have missed on. I think we never talked about Nnamdi Asomugha. Some Eagles haters out there, they've already compared the signing to Nnamdi. Here's what you guys don't understand.
Please don't be Nnamdi.
He won't be Nnamdi. And you know why. Explain to us why.
Well, Nnamdi was way out of his element in more ways than one, on and off the field. First of all, off the field, he used to eat his lunch by himself in the parking lot and not be with the teammates, all right? So, and he fell under the Dream Team curse, and he was more of a man coverage guy, and we put him in zone coverage for some reason. I mean, I think Andy Reid was just, he's already had his stay with us, and he was on his way out that in 2012 after that next year. So, I mean, Nnamdi was just out of his element from the get-go, socially and on the field.
Yep. For what and when they finally let him play a little bit of man press coverage, he actually played pretty well. So he actually wasn't as bad as you might have thought he was in Philadelphia. At least, when he actually did play to his strength, he was good. But man, it was very disappointing with him. There's a big difference between what they're doing now and what they did back in the Dream Team days. Dream Team days, we were just signing guys. It didn't matter if they fit the scheme or not. But with this team right now, every signing makes sense because every signing fits the scheme. Maxwell, he's got the Eagles, the way they like to play their secondary, they like guys that are big and have long arms so they can disrupt the passing lanes. Well, Maxwell fits it to a T.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really exciting. I don't think this is going to be anything like the Dream Team. And plus we built through the draft too, so that's huge. We did sign free agents and made trades, but I think it'll all work out. We're in a different, Chip is ready to go. He's in year 3. That was Andy's 13th year, I think, or something like that. So he had his stay, and this is the plan in motion, and I have total faith in him. Yep.
Andy Reid became kind of like that pet dog that you started getting a little old, and you started breaking down. You started not being able to walk, and then you just had to send him to the vet.
Put him down. That's a great comparison. You got to give Andy Reid credit though. I mean, that run. I mean, it was awesome. Right from even just year in 2001, just a couple years in. I mean, he made an NFC Championship game against one of the greatest shows on turf. Yeah. And that it was impressive, and we were one of the best teams for many years. And it's just really unfortunate that somebody puked on the field down 3 in the fourth quarter and couldn't run a 2-minute drill, and Andy Reid had no timeouts because that's what he did. So he was frustrating sometimes, but great coach, and you got to give him credit. And I wish him the best in KC, of course.
Yeah, think about that. You know, first year he goes 5-11. Second year he goes 11-5. Gets your team to the divisional playoffs. And third year, which is what Chip is in right now, he took us to the NFC Championship game. So, I mean, obviously, great start. Picked the right quarterback in Donovan McNabb, and hopefully he's got his guy in Sam Bradford. Hopefully he pans out. Hopefully he can stay healthy because, like we were talking about at the bar, if he stays healthy, we think they can get to 11 wins.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, I hate to say it, but like if Mark Sanchez is a good backup, he is a good number 2. Yeah, I mean you didn't want him to play like he played too many games last year. He played 8 games, but I mean that was just the first year in the system. He's another year in the system. He's another year healthier from his shoulder surgery a couple years ago, and I think if anything were to happen to Bradford, I mean Sanchez can come in for a few games, but I like we said, at the bar, I think if Bradford, for a fact, plays 16 games this year, I think there's going to be big things on the horizon for the Eagles, and a lot for the Eagles fans to be excited about because Bradford has Chip Kelly's scheme down. He ran similar offense in Oklahoma with his roommate, college roommate, and teammate DeMarco Murray standing right behind him, and he's very accurate. Chip Kelly likes the little dink and dunk, like short, just get the first down, keep running. He can fit it in the window, kind of like not like Nick Foles could do. Foles kind of guys were very open if he threw the deep ball occasionally, but he couldn't quite, and he held on the ball too long. Foles did. Love the guy, but I think Bradford is the answer. If he is healthy for 16 games, I mean, we are making a. I'm calling it. We're gonna make a run if Bradford is healthy for 16 games.
Basically, I've been just said what I've been saying for months. You know, Bradford, perfect fit for the offense. You know, he can put the ball on the proper shoulder, all that. And, you know, to reference your earlier point about Sanchez, he is an excellent backup. But there's a reason why he's a backup, because he sucks. All backups suck. So, but in terms
he's
of
the best of the ones that suck.
Yes. So among the guys that suck, he is the least suckiest.
There you go.
So there you go. You know,
exactly.
People like, you know, oh my God, we signed Sanchez again. Well, when you compare him to, like, I don't know, would you rather have Mark Sanchez or EJ Manuel? Would you rather have him or, like, I don't know, I can't even think about it. I'd rather have him than
Curtis Painter.
Yeah, Curtis Painter.
Look at that one. Remember when that was before they drafted Andrew Luck? That was suck for luck year when Peyton got hurt. He had the neck thing, and Curtis Painter led them to was it 1-15 season?
1-15. I'd rather have him than Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah. And then well, that worked out for them. Andrew Luck. I mean, I would love for him to have him on our team.
Oh, well. We would be winning Super Bowls if we had Andrew Luck on our team.
That's probably a fact.
Yeah.
And then but yeah, Sanchez, like I said, is a good backup. Hopefully the running game and our 3-headed monster back there. I'm rocking Darren Sproles right here. He's the third of that monster, but he's a stud. We all know he's a Swiss Army knife, as Chip would say. So DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews, I hope, take a lot of pressure off the quarterback for whoever's behind center, and I hope our offensive line. That's a whole nother discussion, but hopefully those guard spots get filled up with the proper guys, and you got Jason Peters, Elaine Johnson, and Kelsey as the anchors on the outside and in the middle, who I have utmost confidence in. Yeah.
And those guard spots, that's something we will talk about when we do our training camp preview. You know, we'll have all 3 of us on. We'll have you, Mike, and I, and be the first Bitter Birds trio show. So that should be a lot of fun when we do that. I think we're going to, Monday. Are you available Monday?
Yeah, can be available whenever.
Yeah. So weeknights
are good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So that's that. I mean, yeah. So this was a jam-packed show. You know, your first show, we popped your cherry, and and yeah. I mean, overall, I think you did really, really well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I was a little nervous at first, but then once we got talking, I mean, it was good interaction, and yeah, I got pretty comfortable with it. And plus, I had some beer to wash it down, calm the nerves.
Yeah, the beer always works. Beer always works, and you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I went to school for this, so I remember my first time I was in front of a camera. You know, back in like 2010, I was shitting bullets. I did Out Sports with Temple, like basically their little sports center. I was an anchor for them. So, but now, 5 years later, I don't get nervous anymore. So like I almost forget sometimes, the butterflies you can get because I just don't get them anymore.
Yeah, well, lucky you. I've always been like, horrible, like presenting in front of people, any presentations. But I mean, this is different. I mean, this is kind of interaction with my buddy about sports. So I mean, it's
exactly
fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I was always the guy. I was like, I love being in front of the stage and being the center of attention. I love that shit. I ate that shit up.
Yeah, you're a natural, bro.
Yeah. I try to be like Harry McKay.
Adrian, we did it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So normally the way we end our shows, I have Mike give his final thoughts. Basically, just talk about whatever you want to talk about to close our show. And well, do you want to do the Cole Hamels thing? We'll do another show. Do you want to do that? Talk about him real quick.
Yeah, something quick.
Okay. All right. So we'll save that for the other show we're going to do. And now you're on the soapbox because it is final thoughts time, and you just talk about whatever you want to talk about to close the show.
What? I don't know what. I'm excited about the Eagles for training camp on Sunday.
There you go. So final thoughts. Jeremy gave it, and like I said before, it's great to have him on our team now. If you didn't watch my Cole Hamels no-hitter video, we're going to be doing more videos. Well, more sports, more Philly sports, because we've always been just Eagles based. But I'm going to start doing more Philly stuff, more Sixers stuff. We both went to Temple. I'm going to be doing Temple stuff. So Flyers stuff. We're going to be doing it all here in the Bitterbirds. Unfortunately, our teams right now aren't too good, so I don't know how good our viewership's going to be. But the Eagles will remain our creme de la creme, what we turn to the most. But yeah, we're going to bring some more members on board, and we're going to try to start doing some big things with this thing. So yeah, man, thanks for joining the team. I'm glad you're part of it, and yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for having me, dude. And 3 days until training camp.
3 days, baby, 3 days. All right. With that being said, that's Jeremy Burton. I'm Adrian Fedkiw. I must say, I was afraid I was going to say Mike Owens in the beginning because it just, I'm just so used to saying Mike Owens, and now we got a different guy. But yeah, Jeremy Burton. I didn't fuck up your name, and yeah. So we're gonna do a Cole Hamels video shortly, and we're out of here. Later, guys. Go Birds.
Go Birds.